Dear friends and subscribers, we are thrilled to launch our 8th season of AWA Agora in collaboration with our sister company Solsara. As a series of talks that we will be featuring in the upcoming weeks, we have been very fortunate to have with us Dr. Atul Pednekar of the Yoga Psychology Foundation here in our hometown of Mumbai. We are ecstatic about the fact that we could have these series of conversations about topics that are relevant to humanity at large. Though these emanate from the yoga school and in Mumbai, the relevance of it is international and worldwide. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Atul Pednekar, who we are delighted to have with us as our guest. Welcome, sir. It's just wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Abhay, for inviting me over here. Slightly off topic as such. I'm, in a sense, very difficult for people to relate with it. So, thank you for inviting me over here, and I'm sure we'll have a wonderful discussion today.
For sure, for sure. So, the topic that we are going to discuss today with Dr. Atul Pednekar is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And what relevance does it have beyond the statements from our scriptures? What is the relevance of these two words in Sanskrit to our everyday existence?
Yeah, so as we know, basically the phrase we can say Mahavakya, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, comes from the Upanishad, which simply translates as the whole earth is just one family. Now before I proceed, I would just also like to take your take on this. So when you hear this, what is the usual connotation that we get from it? What is the relation or what is the context of this statement? Just as a general audience, what would you feel?
I have always understood this from school time to be that we are all related, we are all connected. It doesn't matter what race, gender, religion, it's all one family. And just born in different parts of the world, and the relevance of empathy and being able to connect with them should be not through a polarizing, discriminatory kind of approach, but really that we are all one. That's what I understood, and that obviously impacted a lot of my growing up. So, but I'm sure there's more to it. So
yeah. So on one side we are certainly saying Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we are all just one family. But then how do we explain the wars that are constantly going on? So if we are just one family, we should be all together, we should have cordial relations with each other. But then over the period, always there have been wars. So we need to ask ourselves, is it a statement of fact that it is all one family, or is it an intention that is given? Understand it and try to be one family. So these are the two concepts that come out over here. So if it is that we are already a family, if everybody understood that, everybody feels that, then technically there shouldn't have been any wars.
Absolutely.
But if there
disagreements, but not wars.
Yeah, there could be disagreements certainly, but there should not be any violence, there should not be any hatred for each other, it should not be any problems with each other. So if there are these wars, then what is the application of this statement? That needs to be questioned. So to understand that, we need to understand the statement from the perspective of the gunas. So if you are aware, there are the three gunas, the sattva, rajas and tamas. And usually we consider the sattva as the good guna, tamas as the bad guna, rajas as kind of a balancing, or let us try to understand that later on. So it's more like an aggressive or more of activity, it comes from the rajas.
Right.
And then usually more emphasis given on the sattva guna. It is the one which creates harmony, it is the one which has more wisdom, so on. So if we see the statement Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam comes from a sattva guna, it is a statement of the wise people who see unity in everything. Okay? So if we see, the gunas also affect the kind of a knowledge that we have, and the sattva guna represents wisdom, the appropriate knowledge or the balancing knowledge. So the rishis gave the statement from a perspective that yes, everything is connected with each other. But if there is a problem, then obviously it comes from some other guna. So which would that be? So that could be something like, let us say, the tamas guna. So the tamas guna is more about I, me, myself. So they see only the individuality.
Yeah, we've seen that all over the world. Yeah,
Right?
with all the political situations.
So when the I sense becomes important, the togetherness is lost. Now this is one thing. Now to emphasize on this in a slightly different way, I'd like to give you an example. Now suppose you stay in Mumbai over here, you know the kind of traffic that we have.
Right.
So now suppose you are going out on the road somewhere, and nowadays we have signals everywhere, but obviously at some point of a time the signals are not working, or many times in a sense there are so many junctions with so heavy traffic and you cannot have a traffic signal at every junction as such, and then there would be in some of the important junctions there would be some physically a policeman or a traffic police who stands over there and directs the traffic.
Right.
So now just consider it this way, that you are in your car out on the road in Mumbai or any big city in India where there is a huge traffic.
Right.
The stories are the same.
Right.
So suppose you leave your house at around 7 o'clock where there is hardly any traffic on the road. Okay, you approach one junction and then you see a car coming from the other side. And both of you are almost equally placed over there. What would be your response while crossing that junction?
What would be my response? I would
Usually.
let that other person go, but I would say 99 times of 100, you're the one who wants to go first.
True.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
but in a sense, when the traffic is low, we are also calm, and then we allow the other person, no, you go, and then I can proceed.
Right.
Now let us move ahead a little bit. From 7 o'clock, let us say it becomes 8 o'clock, 8:30, the office time is beginning, people are more on the road, and there is more traffic on the junction. So as the traffic increases, now again you are trying to cross that junction and you see 3 or 4 cars coming from the other side. Now what would you do?
Good question. Yeah, I would try to cross it without getting hit by the other cars.
Yeah. So we slightly increase our speed and try to overtake the other car crossing and try to go further.
Yeah.
Now still further, 10 o'clock, 10 to maybe 11, 11:30 or 12 o'clock also, office timings and people going on, very heavy traffic, and you need a traffic police over there. But obviously the traffic police is also sort of very busy in so many things, and in between there is some, you don't have a traffic police at a particular junction, or he has to manage something else. So for a few 10-15 minutes, absolutely there is nobody over there to guide the traffic. What happens at the junction?
Chaos.
What are the people doing in that chaos?
Horns, maybe picking up fights, maybe shouting, maybe cursing in the car. If your windows are rolled up, you're cursing, kya, like that. I mean, there are varied reactions, I'm guessing, varied emotions that come out here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is happening in between over here? Let us try to understand this. So first of all, when there was a low traffic, technically I am calm, but that calmness, let us say, comes from a sense of security that I will be able to cross the road. But then as the traffic increases, can we see somewhere down the line, we are becoming insecure. I will not be able to cross the road. Okay? I will not be able to cross this junction as such. And the more insecure we are, more is a necessity for me to do something and push myself through that junction.
Fascinating. Yes,
okay?
yes, yeah.
And when I'm the most insecure, can you see all those reactions, emotions coming out of me?
Yes.
Now also let us relate this with something called as the yamas in the Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga. The very first step of Ashtanga Yoga is Yama, which relates with Ahimsa, so non-violence, Satya, that is truthfulness, Asteya, non-stealing, Aparigraha, non-hoarding, Brahmacharya, control over the senses, you can say. Now can we relate the Yamas with our sense of security? Okay? So Yoga Sutras says or profess that okay, you have to follow the Yamas. It is important for you to follow the Yamas. But the other way around, can we understand the relation of Yamas with our sense of security or insecurity? The
That's
more
right.
secure we are,
Yeah.
we are automatically going to follow all the yamas. We are considerate. We are empathetic with each other. There is no need for any violence. Everything is fine. The more we start becoming insecure, it becomes very difficult for us to follow the niyamas or the yamas, sorry. Automatically a little bit of violence, aggression, telling the untruth. So it's like, in a sense, as you said, there's a lot of argument occurring over there, a lot of abuses being hurled at each other.
Yeah.
Okay? Or in a sense, you can say very relatively untruth being said. No, I came first, you were there. Everybody tries to be truthful only from their perspective, not able to see anybody else's perspective.
Right.
So no, I was here first, you turned over here, it was your mistake, not my mistake.
Right.
So stay in a sense, stealing. Are we stealing each other's spaces?
Right.
So technically there are options, but the more you are going to feel insecure, it is going to be difficult for you or us, let us say, to follow the yamas.
Sure.
So Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, again coming back over here, if we can see, can we relate that also with our sense of security? Okay, so the more secure you are going to be calm, you are going to be, we can say, patient, calm with each other also. It is easy for us to be the sattva personality, where we feel connected with each other, we are in harmony with each other. So that's one thing. And then as we become more and more insecure, the insecurity triggers all these emotions in us, and then it becomes difficult for us to follow the yamas also. There is going to be violence. So just relating to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam again, it is a statement coming from Sattva Guna, but there are difficulties. It is difficult for us to experience that Sattva Guna because of the various things that are occurring around us, which is making us insecure. So on one side, yes, we can profess that, but that is not going to occur until and unless we also try to create more security amongst the nations and then finally the citizens also.
Dr. Atul, you were just mentioning about the three gunas. So for those members of our audience who are not very familiar with the three gunas, could you just elaborate a little bit about what they stand for?
Yeah. Okay. So basically the concept of gunas comes from the Sankhya philosophy, where it mentions that everything in this universe is composed of three basic attributes, we can say. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. These are eternal. So they are not going to be destroyed anytime. And they always work in different proportions with each other. So every guna represents something. So let us say Sattva guna will represent the goodness, the harmony, the wisdom, if it is knowledge, the togetherness, seeing one thing as one, everything as one. So that is all about, let us say, Sattva guna. Then we have the Tamas guna, which is more like the inertia. Okay, so inertia, dullness, sluggishness, the darkness, the viciousness, depressive states, you can say.
That's tamasic.
That's all considered to be tamasic. Okay? But from a physical perspective, that's also necessary. Whereas the Rajas guna is seen as the activity. So the actions that are occurring, the various actions one is performing, the movement that is happening. So that all falls under the energy, etc. That all falls under the Rajas. So if you just want to compare it with some particular activity, if you see there is a car. So the engine in that which is moving, making the car move, that will be seen as mostly the Rajas part. The petrol, etc., the fuel which gives the energy, that is all the Rajas. Along with that, the Tamas is also important. For example, if the car just keeps on moving, the car will bang somewhere. So you also need a little bit of inertia, the braking system, the tires which have the treads, which puts a friction and allows the car to stop. Or if you are running the car for too long, you need the car to also rest for some time to cool down. So that is an inertia. So we are not saying it is bad, but in a sense, we normally see it as something which slows us down. Okay? As against that, the Sattva will be more like the driver's seat, who is directing the vehicle here or there. So the directions, etc., the knowledge, that comes from the sattva. A very simple way of understanding it. It's a PhD topic.
Sure.
So in a short way, I can say that. So normally we consider sattva as the good quality. Tamas, not necessarily bad, but because it creates some inertia, some sluggishness, it is seen as the bad thing. And the rajas, which is the action, which gives us the movement or the energy part of it.
Right.
Okay. Now, does it affect our knowledge also? So there can be different kinds of knowledge depending on the predominant guna. So usually it is said that the tamasic knowledge is all about I, me, myself. Everything rotates only about oneself.
Okay.
Rajas is you and me, the transactional or the practical knowledge, we can say. So if I am here, you are also there. We are both important. And then if I have to function, I have to work in coordination with you.
Right.
So I cannot keep on fighting with you. Let us come to some point of agreement. Let us sit down. Let us put down some boundaries over here. This is yours, this is mine. And then we respect that. That is more like a rajas. Sattva is too philosophical, too spiritual, where they see everything as one. The Advaita philosophy, as you say. There is no duality. You and me are one and the same.
Abhin, as they call it.
Abhinna.
Yeah.
So there is no concept of you and me, just we, it is just us. So we can see it from these perspectives. So, or the wisdom, as we say.
Fantastic. That really completely explains it in a very practical way. I get it. So I'm now just going to launch into my next question. I know how I can apply this, and I'm thinking about all my friends in the corporate world. Who are saying to me, this is good, but give me practical application. I'm working in a bank, I'm working in some heavy corporate setting with 1,000+ employees. So what will I do with this knowledge? It's good. Like they'll say, oh yeah, you're telling me to be sattvic, and some people say that's just being vegetarian, no alcohol, no this, and becoming a sannyasi. How will I do that in the corporate world? So I thought I'll just pose that question because these questions come up often when we speak about Sankhya philosophy and the teachings of Patanjali and etc. So I thought I would just pose that practical question to you.
Sure. So when we are saying sattva, let us understand with sattva you cannot create businesses only with sattva. So I do agree with that. Sattva is more like a balancing guna which keeps you sort of detached also. And in a creation you cannot be detached from the creation. You need to be involved in that. Okay? So pure sattva may not help you basically create something. You need a lot of passion, a lot of energy. That is the rajas guna. Other way around, tamas would also be somewhere, you might say not extremely bad, but it is like kind of a business which would be sort of more self-centered. They would not be bothering any of the impact of those businesses on the environment, etc. So we have lots of companies, factories who are focused only on the profits.
Not on the environment.
Not the effect of that on the environment. So that would be more like a I, me, myself. What is the profit for this in me? Whatever happens to the world, whatever happens to the universe, the environment around me, I am not bothered about that. You handle that. So that is more like a tamasic tendency. So the balancing one is the rajas.
So it's not. We're not saying that the sattvic or this or rajasic is. We're not passing a judgment on that.
Yeah.
We're just saying that it's based on the situation.
True. Okay. So balancing in a sense, at an extreme it is going to be bad. A sattvic person cannot do a business. Sattvic person believes in goodness. Okay.
Exactly.
So in the Indian, you can say Varkari or the saint history, we have Sant Tukaram, who basically was coming from a family of businessmen, but being a saint, he actually donated everything.
Right.
And his family had a problem with that, obviously. So as a saint, as a sattva person, you cannot do a business because you believe in oneness, you believe in compassion. You'll blow up that business, frankly speaking.
Okay.
Okay? As against that, we have the tamasic person who will create a problem for the society. For themselves, they are holding a lot of money, they are becoming rich, but they would
don't
not be
care
bothered about what happens to the world.
Hmm.
So that's bad.
Hmm.
So for that reason, we need someone who balances, who keeps a balance between the two. That is Rajas. So as I said earlier, Rajas is the transactional person.
Hmm.
He believes in give and take, and then if you see in all the businesses, there is an agreement that is done beforehand.
Hmm.
And that's a very formal kind of a Rajas document, you can say, that this is what I gain, this is how you should gain.
Hmm.
And everything is sort of
Written
mentioned in words over there. So that is a perfect example of a Rajas personality. They believe in businesses, they are true to their business. And in a way, they control both the Sattva also and the Tamas also. They should be, rather I can say.
Hmm. So are they in the middle, or are they?
Sorry, they should be.
Or
They are in the
Sattva,
middle.
is it on top? And,
Now the question is, who rules the Rajas?
huh.
So Rajas is basically the controlling power.
Right.
But again, is there anybody who's controlling the Rajas
Rajas.
also?
Huh.
So on whose favor is the Rajas going?
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So in a general way, if we can look at the Rajas as the government.
Huh.
So the government is the ruling body, they are controlling everything, they have the energy, they have the power.
Right.
The question is, on which side is the government? Are they ruled by Sattva, or are they ruled by Tamas? So when they are ruled more by Sattva, they would be believing more in the goodness of the
Society.
or the nation. They are ruling a nation.
All the people in the nation.
All the people in the nation.
Huh.
Okay?
Right.
So that goodness comes first, or that benefit comes first for them. As against that, if it is ruled more by Tamas, then that is where all the corruption comes out. And as we said, Tamas is all about insecurity. So corruption, violence, everything that we see today, even in the politics, now that the elections are on, everything that is happening, just fighting with each other for that power. So here I'm not taking any sides, who's
I
good,
understand what you're saying. Yeah,
who's
yeah.
bad, we are not talking about that.
Yeah.
But the kind of viciousness that is going on, can you see each party is also insecure over here, and that brings out the tamas, the kind of fighting that goes on.
Yeah.
Rajas would be, in a sense, the balancing. The sattva would be sort of, okay, even if it is an opposition, can I take the good things from the opposition?
Right.
That kind of an attitude which can come out.
And there was a very important book that was written by a past Prime Minister, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, where he speaks about that fact that, yes, Rajasic we have to do, right? But to do it for the betterment of the whole society.
The beauty of the statements in the Upanishads is that it applies even to the simple cell to the entire universe. So when you're talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, it is also about a family. So how are the members in a family? How are the members in an organization, in a business? Are they self-centered or are they working as a family over there? But for that to happen, there has to be a unity within that unit also, whether it is a family, whether it is a business.
We're talking about families and how coherence and the whole concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam starts from what you said, the family cell. So could you speak a little bit more about that?
So again, as we said, it's about a kind of a security that occurs within individuals, within a family, within a department, within, you can say, the businesses, within the government, international. Anybody who is insecure, a nation which is insecure, it can create a problem at an international level. Whenever there is an insecurity within people of a family, then it creates an imbalance within the family itself. Lots of anger, violence, etc. occurring over there. So it's about balancing this out. As we said, tamas business is just self-centered, focused only or interested only in the profits, not at all bothered about the impact of that on the society around it. Okay. So what would happen over here is, one thing is these people will be very, very impatient towards the businesses. They want fast, overnight profits. So the sattva is about patience, let us say. But that patience again needs a lot of feeling of security. Now it has become a culture today that everybody is insecure. So insecurity breeds insecurity. So in a sense, it's become a need of the hour for the businesses to be tamasic. They cannot think too much from the perspective of a sattva or the goodness or the wellness of the entire universe. I'm just when I'm seeing sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, I'm not saying that okay, it's so easy, just bring in a sattva guna. It's not like a press of a button, the sattva guna is going to increase. Let everybody do yoga, suddenly the sattva guna is going to increase. I'm not even saying that. So I'm aware of it, that even if I'm saying it, it's not giving an easy solution.
Right.
But we need to be patient. Now, I cannot indirectly or in a sense immediately go and affect the government. It has to begin at an individual level. So it's like we say a critical mass, we say. So is it possible that first of all we work on ourselves, and then at least if I am patient, then slowly it creates an environment around me. So the purpose over here is of focusing on the one person in a family who takes a lead, and the leader is the Rajas person therefore. So at least if the leaders are trained, the managers in a way they are the leaders, in some way the leaders are trained and they learn to be sort of balanced in themselves, patient in themselves, then they will be patient with their subordinates, and they would be able to bring in some kind of a patience in their subordinates as such, and then slowly it grows. Very easy for me to say I know that, but in a sense somebody has to make a start over here. Can we begin from the individual? Can we begin from some small teams?
So if you were to say, okay, Abhay, 3 things that a business owner can do. I'm not even taking an analysis that they're doing tamasic kind of business with tamasic or is it rajasic. I'm just saying that there are 3, if you could just give them 3 steps to be cognizant of, or 3 guidelines, what would they be? So would you be kind enough to share a few of these guidelines with us?
Okay. So if we see companies usually focus or invest more in the skill training. I'm not saying all, but usually it's more on the skill training. Now skill is basically for an output. And output again relates to profits. So I'm not saying that's wrong, it is important. But can we invest in the person also, the personal development of an employee as such, wherein in a sense every person has their own insecurities which could be coming in the way of their personal performance, let us say. So along with those skill trainings, there are lots of programs on what we understand as self-development. So I would not like to promote any program as such over here, but in a sense whatever you believe is helping the individual grow internally rather than just in a skill. Something that focuses on the person, not the output of that person. Which can include lots of stress management workshops, whatever works, or counseling sessions. Or along with that, yoga is supposed to have a lot of benefit in this also. Yoga actually connects you with yourself.
Yes.
It's more of an inward journey. Normally we focus on the asana, pranayams, etc., which look more externally nice. But yoga is all about an internal journey, working on yourself. So any of these programs, whatever you feel comfortable with, at least begin with something. Slowly over a period of time, it helps the person. You have to be patient again, as I said. The results are not going to occur overnight. Even if I understand what my problem is, it might take some time for me to actually work on that. So many times the companies do also offer such programs, but the employees do not take those options. So you have to look at both ways. So in a sense, anything that can help you work on yourself, understand yourself, work on yourself, is going to help you overcome your insecurities, become more patient with yourself. The more patient you are with yourself, you will automatically become more patient with others around you. That's what I feel.
Beautiful. So there are these 2 phrases that or sayings that come: better me, better world, right? And there's another one in Hindi that says Jaisi Drishti, Vaisi Srishti. And what you just said is actually very powerful. Is that even team members, not just business owners, you're right, that they're like, why don't you go for a yoga training over the weekend? We'll pay for it. Some people will be interested, but it's like, can I learn this new software? Can I learn to do this? Because that is directly connected to the pay raise. So The problem that many of the people who are working are that they're, yes, everyone wants to have more money, and I'm sure many people listening and watching this would also resonate with that. That you have to work on yourself, self-care, right, to create betterment around you. If you're miserable, and only worried about this tamasic relationship with the world, then you're going to percolate that misery.
So that is what we spread around.
Very
The more we spread or work on ourselves, something around us certainly changes. Yeah, so as I said earlier, the threat to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam context is our insecurity. So can we think of it this perspective, that how the diseases can also be coming from some kind of a insecurity? That is one thing. So as you mentioned, let us say epidemics also. So very difficult for us to prove that, but what do you mean by an epidemic where certain infective bacteria, viruses suddenly starts spreading and there's a mutation in that particular genome or basically that virus also? Now is it that there is something that we are doing that could be making the nature insecure, that could be making the viruses insecure, where they feel the need to just change something about them and just to protect themselves, they are becoming a dangerous version of themselves in a way to protect themselves. It's a reaction coming from the virus, let us say. Similarly, when we talk about illnesses at an individual level, whatever it is. Now, if you see, most of these illnesses are related to our lifestyle also. And frankly speaking, if you see, everybody knows the right lifestyle. What to eat, what not to eat, when to sleep, how much hours of sleep do I need, how much rest do I need. Practically everybody knows it. The question is, what stops us from following those instructions? One thing is severe restlessness, severe anxieties about something. And then at the root of every anxiety, can we also see there is some kind of an insecurity that we are having, maybe about our survival, our income, our relations, where in a way we are not able to find time for ourselves and practice what could be right for me. From a knowledge perspective, I know that. Let me give a simple example. Many times people come with diabetes, obesity, and one of the common reasons for that is eating the wrong kind of food, and most importantly nowadays, eating food at a wrong time. And now the entire world is actually a one family, so you need to adjust yourself to the different time zones. So in India it's 9 o'clock, but that is when the other markets are opening up and you need to address some of those clients also. And therefore if you see, at one level, the entire things are speeding up, the concept of time is lost. We have to be up almost 24 hours. Or whatever time we get in between, you can rest, if at all you get that time.
Right. 7 days also, because
almost,
some days are,
So many times we miss the family time also.
Yes.
Is there any insecurity in that? Can you relate that with a lot of insecurities that come up with our own jobs? Okay, so it looks very simple. The word insecure looks a very innocuous word. And so what kind of an insecurity? The insecurity is in a way guiding our lifestyles also. It's controlling our lifestyles. You are not able to follow the right lifestyle in spite of you knowing everything. The companies are not able to give those relaxations to their employees, even if they know that, okay, from a moralistic, ethical perspective, okay, I need to give these breaks.
Fantastic.
So somewhere down the line, it works at every level, insecurities, and then we end up harming not only ourselves but our families also. Because if I am working throughout the day, there will be a lot of stress on me also. It has to come out, those frustrations have to come out somewhere. And unfortunately, it's usually our family that gets affected. Those are our soft targets. So outside we are very nice. If possible, I'll discuss that some other time. With the outside world, we are always good. Maximum stresses come out on our own family members.
So, but you know what we are also seeing, which is heartening, is that not because of COVID, people say, oh, because of COVID we are working from home, but what we are seeing is that companies are investing slowly a lot more in what you mentioned earlier. Not just about a skill set that leads directly to profits, or to more money, but saying that we want them to be part of our family. Things are changing, though we are getting busier. You know, lifestyle ailments, like you said, eating at 11, you know, and maybe having a couple of drinks and then going straight to bed, you know, so that obviously is going to feed all the diseases in your body. So there are good trends that we can see that are heartening, but I think it's just the start. I mean, there is so much more that, you know, people can do, you know, to impact, like we were saying, you know, better me, better world, you know. And I think in the next segment of this, when we meet, let's definitely talk about how we can impact wellness.
Sure.
In the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for the family unit, not just the individual unit.
So if you see from the Sankhya philosophy, all creations begin at the level of the mind only. Mind meaning the thoughts. So the thoughts is the first creation. Thoughts affect our emotions, emotions affect our energies, and energies finally affect our body. Now we might say that, okay, but my lifestyle is like this, that is the cause of the problem. But if you are following a wrong lifestyle, why are not correcting it? Because again there is something at the back of your mind which is stopping you from doing that, and that again is a thought. So these again relate to various anxieties, and then coming from there, these anxieties are also actually in a sense my thoughts that if I do this, I will be harmed like this. I want to do this, but I cannot because XYZ reason. These are all our thought processes. So difficult to relate it maybe for the moment, but once you go to a counselor, when they help you introspect on these, you can understand how they are related to your thoughts. So the point over here is that even if I'm following a wrong lifestyle, there is some thought process that is involved in that. If simply knowing that is allowing you to change your lifestyle to the right one, matter ends over there. You don't need to go deeper than that. But you are trying your best, but in spite of that, you are not able to follow what is the right thing, then it is most probably some anxiety in the subconscious that needs to be identified and that needs to be worked upon. And lifestyles do not overnight create any diseases. So none of the diseases occur overnight.
Right.
So let us say a simple thing like diabetes. What would be the initial thing? That okay, right now I'm just eating a wrong food. No, maybe till the time I'm around 20, 25, 30 or so, I'm at least being physically active to some level. So whatever wrong I eat, my body can manage with that. But then slowly as the time increases, these wrong habits start having more and more damaging effect on your body. Every night I'm eating the wrong food, then going off to sleep, the food is not getting digested. Slowly maybe it relates, or in a sense it goes on to develop, let us say, obesity. Again, it's not 10 kgs in a month, so it will be maybe or let us say 100 grams over a month, or 100 grams maybe in 2 months also.
Right.
But then that cumulative effect sort of in 5-10 years turns out to be 10 kgs. At the same time, I was not able to exercise properly, so my physical health is also going down. The muscles are becoming weak, making me less able to do the exercise even if I realize that. I'm getting more and more tired with my work. So it has an effect gradually, and then let us say after 10 years my test comes borderline diabetes. It is not again immediately diabetes. Now I can correct myself still, but then what happens? I find it better to just take a medicine and control my diabetes rather than changing my lifestyle, because the anxieties are still the same. My pressure to be in that lifestyle is the same. And then maybe 5 years later on, it turns out to be diabetes. Now it's like you have to take the medicine. So the point over here is diseases do not occur overnight. They will be occurring over a period of time. The reason is something about your stress, something about your thoughts. You need to follow certain guidelines early on. It might take some time. So if it took 10 years to form that, you will need at least 2-3 years to overcome that. So yoga is not going to give you overnight effects also. So many times when they say that, okay, yoga cures everything, not necessarily. You have to be taking it with a pinch of salt. Everything may be changed, may not be changed. There are lots of other factors. So you have to be patient with yourself. You have to be, as yoga says, you have to be consistent in your practices. Practicing yoga for just 2 weeks, and then again taking a break of 2 months or 2 years and again doing something, it is not going to help you. So if you are going to follow, it has to become your habit.
So Dr. Pednekar, the data that you've shared with us is very compelling in terms of how it all comes together and how it's all connected. And starting from the point of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam to the mind, to the ailments that you started talking about. But I'm pressed to ask that in this left brain world that we live in, is there scientific proof or scientific papers or research towards these connections?
Very interesting, because I can relate that to our medical studies also, actually, what we have gone through. So in the first year, we are taught a topic called as physiology. And physiology deals with the normal functioning of our body, how the body normally functions. And if you just go into the details of that, you will see how the body has a capacity of balancing itself in the best possible way. So technically we do not need anything from outside. Now slowly as we proceed further, in the second year we are introduced to a topic called as pathology. So from physiology, how does it become pathology? Pathology means suffering. How do the sufferings occur? Why do the diseases occur? Slowly the focus goes on the outside world. That it is this pathogen, it is this, that, how it is creating the problems for us. And in the third year, or first in homeopathy it was third and fourth basically years, we are taught how to control the diseases, but unfortunately all the control is, what is taught to us is from the external part, the medications. Now even in the fourth year, before they talk about the medical treatment of any condition, there is first of all an understanding of how that disease occurs. And I still remember when we had a book called as Harrison's Textbook of Medicine, which is like a Bible for us, goes into extreme details of every diseases. And over there, under the chapter of hypertension, it was mentioned how, in a sense, there are other simple factors which are affecting. And today if we see, whenever we talk about hypertension or high blood pressure, one of the reasons that is usually given is age. So as you age, your blood pressure increases. That is what we are told. But there was this research which was given. So they studied sort of 2 tribes. This was maybe 70, 80 years. So I don't remember that. Because frankly speaking, unfortunately, there is no mention of that research today in any textbook of Harrison's also. Taken away for I don't know what reason. So which this research showed that there were 2 tribes that were studied. So one which was in a very primitive kind of a lifestyle. And in that they found that even with the age, the blood pressure actually reduced rather than increasing. So they had a simple lifestyle. Your blood pressure need not increase with age, it actually reduces. The chances of atherosclerosis, etc., it all reduces.
Fantastic.
Then they studied another tribe which was slightly closer to the states. So sort of exposed to the modern lifestyle, where they found 2 kinds of people. One still staying back in that community and still following the good lifestyle, and one part of their society or their people going into the states or the cities over there and exposed to the new lifestyle. And they found that those who stayed back over here, they still had the healthy arteries in spite of the age. And those who had gone to the cities, adopted to a new lifestyle, they slowly start developing ailments, hypertension. So in a way, hypertension, diabetes, gout, and coming from diabetes and hypertension, all the heart diseases, technically they are also mentioned as lifestyle related conditions. The unfortunate part is, as doctors, we are not taught to focus on the lifestyle. We are just taught about giving medications. in the hospitals also, the focus is entirely on medications and therapy. Unfortunately, neither the hospitals or we are taught about the importance of lifestyle. Nobody is interested. Obviously, maybe there are, as you can understand, people who would be affected by that. So again, I do not mean to say that medicines are not important, but in every health condition, there is always something that can be reversed if you start following the right lifestyle.
And the right lifestyle will be
Eating on time. So in yoga, we just put it as the 4 things. So ahar,
as a niyama.
Yeah. So ahar, what do you eat? Vihara, recreations, relaxation time, the me time, as we say. Are you able to have some happy moments for yourself? Then comes the achara or the routines. Are you following a proper routine in your lifestyle?
Right.
And finally the vichara. So your thought process, that is the stress management. So I see it as 2 things. Yoga management is about 2 things. One, lifestyle management. Second thing is stress management. You need to combine the both. If you are able to do that, even if you are suffering from some disease, there is always something that you can reduce. If not that, you can prevent it from progressing further. And if you are very persistent, very strong in your lifestyle, maybe some part of the illnesses can also be sort of brought down back to normal. So this is what my experience is, but the research is very limited in sense of very temporary things. Government, Ayush bodies, they need to invest a lot of their time, resources
into that,
in the research regarding this.
Yeah, that is a worldwide problem, because anything that is an alternative to conventional methodologies of treating from outside, right, is often faces a tough fight, because of vested interests and the pharmaceutical lobbies and so on and so forth. I've done actually many shows on that, exposing the linkages between, how you are fed a certain food so you can have illnesses, then that can be then treated by the pharma lobby.
Medicines are also important, so as a doctor I would not completely disagree with the medicine. Their anxiety is also, what they see a disease as, it has been fed into us. So not that there are not people who do not understand that, but it's become a culture that, okay, the focus is only on the medicines. It will take some time for them also to understand that, okay, there is something else which is also possible.
We will definitely do this in another show, because though I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm saying that the whole concept of tamasic that you said earlier is what has happened with the pharmaceutical industry. That was earlier meant for doing what you said, as to treat. Then when it became a place for making profit first, and then your health, because why is there not more money invested in antibiotics, right? Because it's not a recurring thing. Why is there so much money invested in sugar medication or thyroid medication? So there are pulls and pushes which actually connect so beautifully to your topic. So I'm glad that this came up, and I understand that your viewpoint is obviously much more exposed to this. I mean, I'm coming from a limited viewpoint of seeing that at least in the United States, and so I have often found it very, very frustrating that this kind of information and knowledge is suppressed and kept under wraps, except for the few seekers. I'm very thankful to you, because I think our guests, when they watch your comments, your thoughts, your ideas, are going to be super enriched. And I'm certain that many of them will resonate with the guidelines that you have given, whether they're business people or students or any walk of life. And I wanted to thank you for being here with us, taking the time. I know you're very busy, and we hope to have you back on the show to talk about these special conditions that you referred to. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Abhay, you also, for inviting me over here. It was wonderful having this discussion with you, because these are topics that usually people do not understand maybe, or basically they would want quick bites on certain things. So thank you for giving me this patient hearing also.
So to our subscribers, stay tuned. For those of you who haven't subscribed, please do so, because we hope to have him back on our show to talk about the various conditions that he has spoken about, and also the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in how it impacts the family unit. So again, we are happy to be back for our 8th season. This is our 71st show, and indeed very fortunate to have Dr. Atul Pednekar from the Yoga Psychology Foundation here in Mumbai. Signing out for now, I'm your host Abhay Wadhwa from AWA Agora in collaboration with Soulsara. We hope to see you soon. Thank you.